everybody, and welcome to Prayers in Progress, a space where we talk about life as a Christian and life in ministry. We want to help you navigate through that. I'm your host, Pastor Larry Rocket, and today I have with me, man, my homie. We go way back. Man, got in trouble a couple of times together in school. Had some great conversations in school. She has grown to be a phenomenal woman of God, and she's doing great things for the city of Water Valley. She's doing great things in ministry. Y'all help me welcome Minister Monique Townes Bush. How you doing now?
I am doing well. What an introduction. I feel honored. Yes,
Hey man,
man.
I had to bring you in right because look, it's like every time I pull up Facebook or I pull up my social media, I see you doing something for the city. And I'm just like, man, this is outstanding. I remember back when we were in biology class and how we used to just chop it up. And
Showing out, showing
yeah,
out.
yeah, most definitely showing out, doing stuff we weren't supposed to be doing. Listen, my mama still, she still put a little fear in my heart, so I ain't even gonna go into what we were doing. So we're
Le-
gonna we gonna leave that where it's at, man, for real. But today, we're gonna be talking about something that I don't have this experience, but my children do. And
hmm
that is growing up as a PK. For those of you out there that don't know what that is, that's preacher kid, pastor kid, however you want to say it, right? But growing up in the house with the pastor, and we know that your dad is the great Reverend Sammy Towns, phenomenal human being. You couldn't come, in my opinion, you couldn't come to the Cedar Water Valley and be looking for a church home in Spring Hill North don't come up.
Right,
It's impossible
right.
because the great Reverend Sammy Towns was there. I still remember a sermon he preached on Easter one time. He's just an awesome guy, awesome man of God. So, may God continue to rest his soul. Pastor Sammy Towns, just a phenomenal man of God. But I know that you had to grow up in the house with that
Ooh
phenomenal
wee,
man.
ooh wee.
And so I know that you know him on a different level that we don't.
Oh
And
yeah.
so you saw some things, experienced some things, and I know that as a pastor's kid, you and your sister and brother, I'm sure y'all had some things that was expected of you guys, and you were under the spotlight a little bit.
hmm
So that's my first question for you. What is something that people assume about PKs that couldn't be further from the truth?
Oh my goodness. The first thing that people automatically assume when you tell them you are a pastor's son or you are a pastor daughter that we are the worst kids. They feel like we do everything, we say everything, we get into everything. They feel like there is nothing under the sun that a pastor kid won't do. And I'm like, wrong. That is so wrong. Like that couldn't be farther from the truth. Yeah. I'm like,
I ain't gonna lie. Yeah, I used to think that too. Like I
see,
used to
see what I'm
be
saying?
that.
See what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Like that was always the same. It was like, man, you know them preacher kids, they the worst ones. I
They some
always
don't
heard
preach your
that.
kids. They some serious. Like,
Yeah.
you had to know my daddy. My daddy wasn't playing that.
Wow. Man, I can't. Like I can see it, but I can't see it. Like I
I
can't see
know
him
it.
being a disciplinary because like I just know him from when I saw him out in public. And then I saw
Mm-hmm.
him with Landon. That's your son's name, right? Landon.
Mm-hmm.
I saw him
Mm-hmm.
with Landon one day, like maybe a few years ago. I was at the Watermelon Carnival and he had Landon, and I can tell like Landon had him wrapped around his finger. He had like two fists full of stuff.
Oh, let me tell you, nobody had like you. I can't even tell you. Landon had my dad so wrapped around his fingers. I would sit back like, who are you? Like,
Right.
where did you come from? This not my dad. I'm like, my dad wouldn't take that. But my son, oh, my son could now my son may have a different But yeah, he had
Wow.
my daddy wrapped around his fingers. There was nothing
Mm,
like my son could do, he could do no wrong. And I'm
wow.
just sitting back looking like, who are you? Where did you come from? And what did you do with my daddy? Because this is not my daddy response right now. Completely different. Completely different.
I mean, but that's typically how grandparents do. Like my mom, she still try to be a little hard with our children, but it's stuff that she let them do that I'm like, bro, if I would have done that, like my head probably would be between the washer and the dryer, as they say.
Listen, I'm telling you, and even McDonald's, but Landon growing up, he loved I don't think they have them anymore, but I think it was called a refill, like a $5 refill from KFC. So it came with
Oh
mashed
yeah.
potatoes and chicken and
Hmm.
biscuits. Every day my daddy bought that boy KFC. And I'm
Wow.
like, oh, so today you got some restaurant money. Like you got some restaurant money today. But if we wanted a McDonald's cheeseburger or some chicken nuggets, and your mama cook, we got food at home. But you let my baby say he wanted anything. I'm talking about anything. Come on, Pawpaw Man. I'm like, okay, so it does change. It does
Oh
change.
yeah. Paw man, that's so dope.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny.
Mm-hmm.
Man, so okay, we know that you guys get a bad rep and it's not necessarily true.
Mm-hmm.
You guys aren't as bad as we thought you were.
Yeah. Oh, as we,
Yeah, as
I
we
love
thought.
your honesty. As we thought you were.
I gotta be honest because I always heard that. And so I was like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, it must be true. I keep hearing it. So uh, so then, okay, we know that, and I knew you, like I know you from high school and stuff like that. Like, no kid is perfect, but
Right.
as
Right.
far as being horrible, I can honestly say I never experienced that with you and your sister. I didn't go
Yeah.
to school with your brother, but so I guess I could have changed my mind after I met you, but I just never really thought about it. Really,
Mm-hmm.
just went by what people said.
And we did
Um,
show out a little bit, running and hiding from Coach Dixon behind cars, doing senior
we did
pranks.
do that.
Oh, you
We
know.
did that. That was so
But is
funny,
that not
man.
typical? Is that not typical
That's
teenage
typical.
stuff?
I think, but you know what I think it is that's so messed up about it is at the end of the day, people forget that you're just a child. And so
That's
it's
it.
like
That's
if your
it.
dad wasn't Pastor Towns and you got caught doing something that a regular teenager would do, like you would be fine. It was just like, oh, she's
Mm-hmm.
just a kid. But because
Mm.
your dad is Pastor Towns,
You're in a different spotlight.
yeah, so
Yep.
that's man, that gotta be some pressure growing
It
up.
is. It is.
Wow.
Or it was. It was a lot of pressure. And I mean, and I think I don't know, you may be going to ask this later, but being a pastor's kid, you are always in the spotlight. You can be at a ball game. You can be minding your own. I mean, you can just be sitting outside minding your own business. You can be going in the grocery store. There is always somebody looking and somebody watching and somebody judging. How are you going to respond? What are you going to say? How are you going to walk? What do you have on? Or I mean, there's just you are 100% all the time under somebody's microscope at all
Wow.
times. At all times.
That
and
gotta be
and
tough.
and the one line that I remember to this day, that people would say, now your daddy wouldn't, and I mean, and I could be doing absolutely nothing. Well,
Wow.
and I'm like, really? And don't let me back talk or say anything. Everybody had my daddy's number. So they were calling him up. They were calling him, and sometimes, don't think adults don't add stuff to stories, because yes, they do. They will add something to it, especially if if they want you to get in trouble when you get home, they will add a little, they'll add a little bit more to it. Just saying,
I
just putting
was,
that out there.
I believe you. I believe you because that's why I always try to make like whenever my children would get in trouble at school, I would ask questions. Like I hear the
Mm-hmm.
teacher out, then I'm like, okay. Now I ask my kid, hey, what happened?
Mm-hmm.
If what they said lined up with what the teacher said, or I can tell they probably my child is, not telling the complete truth.
Mm-hmm.
And I say, okay,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So yeah, parents out there, hey, get both sides of the story. Don't
Get
just
both
accept
sides
your
of the
child.
story.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And that is so phenomenal that you do that and that you said that. That's one of my biggest things with my son. Because he this year was hard for us. It was really, really hard for us, not academically, but behavior wise. It was really hard for us. And so one of the things that I do, I hear the school, I hear what happened. And then I asked Landon, hey, I need you to tell me what happened. If it lines up with exactly what the school told me, then we got a problem. But if something is off just a little bit, okay, let's go get this corrected. Like, let's go have a conversation so that I can know what actually happened, because in my house there are consequences.
Right. Right.
Yep.
I
So
think
that's so important.
that's real important. Parents, make sure y'all get both sides of the story.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
So let me ask you this. Can you describe a moment when you realized that being a pastor's kid would shape your life differently than your peers?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Um, I want to say I was probably in second grade. I was in
Mm.
second grade, and Miss Oliphant. You remember Miss Oliphant?
I remember that name. I can't remember her face, but I know her name.
She was the homeroom teacher, and my dad was preaching revival. Of course, my dad is 52 weeks in a year, and my dad was preaching revivals like 50 weeks out of the year. And I went to school the next day, and I had forgotten my notebook at church. And my mama wrote a note saying, that I had forgotten my notebook at church, and we would get it that night. And Miss Oliphant said, well, you're gonna have to do it all over again.
Wow.
And I was like, but I've done it. It's in my notebook. I'm gonna bring it tomorrow. And she
Mhm.
made me redo it. All
Wow.
because I forgot my notebook. I didn't remember to bring my notebook. And it was in that moment that I knew I had to work a little bit harder. Um, because we were in revivals, like we were going. There was no, come in from school, you're not going to church. No, it's come in from school, you do what you got to do, you get ready, we're on our way to revival. And so that was just one of those nights, everybody's tired. I'm doing work on the way to church, sneak the notebook in church, trying to be sure, that I finished, and left it on the pew. So I knew then that I had to work a little harder, but then I also knew then that just because my daddy was a pastor, it was not going to excuse me from
Mm.
my everyday responsibilities.
That's a tough lesson to learn as a second grader.
Mm-hmm. And it's so crazy that I remember it so vividly.
That's crazy. But like that kind of speaks to the level of intelligence you had even at second grade. In second grade, for you to be like, okay, I gotta work a little bit harder. But then also people are not going to let me get by because my dad is a pastor.
Mm-hmm.
Because in second grade, what we like seven, six, something like
Yep,
that.
7 and 8. We're seven. Yeah, my son is 8. He's getting ready to turn 9, so we're like 7 and 8.
Yeah, so I don't know if I would have like that would have been my thought process in second grade.
And
So.
and I think, and my son is this way. Sometimes it depends on, and this is like no downplay or disrespect to any other 7 or 8 grade, a 7 or 8 year old, because I believe everybody learns and grow on the level that they are supposed to. But I do feel like it does come with what you are around. You know, we
Mhm.
honestly, we were grown at second and third grade, and I don't mean like grown,
Right.
like all over the place, but I just mean we were very intelligent children at
Mhm.
7 and 8. So we were processing things that other 7 and 8 year olds didn't have to process. And then as far as me and my siblings, we were experiencing things and going through things that other children necessarily either they didn't have to or they didn't get the opportunity to. So we were exposed to a lot of things. And again, that was a part of my dad being in ministry, preaching all across this world. We got the opportunity to be introduced to different cultures and different people, who had different perspectives than people who were right here in Water Valley. So that makes a huge difference in your upbringing.
Yeah, I can imagine so. Being exposed to that much traveling as
Mm-hmm.
a kid, and being around that many people, and then knowing like your dad was something like a celebrity, if we wanted to call it that.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure he couldn't go anywhere
And
without
somebody not
somebody
know
knowing.
him.
Yeah. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
man, I can only imagine how that
Even
was.
now, even now, at 40, and like you said, my dad passed, he passed in 2024. And even now, and I go places and people are like, "What's your daddy name?" And I'm like, "Sammy Towns." I knew you was Pastor Towns' daughter. And they just begin to tell me stories
Mhm.
about him. And I'm like, even to this day, Daddy, I still can't go nowhere. And people don't know the name Sammy Towns.
Hey, that just mean he left his mark. That's
Mm-hmm.
good.
Oh,
That's
he for sure
good.
did. He for sure
That's
did.
awesome. Man, that's so awesome. Okay, cool. So this question is a little tough.
Okay.
Um, but not so tough, but a little bit.
Okay.
Did you ever feel like you had to choose between being authentic and protecting your family's reputation?
Oh, you hit me in my chest with that one. Oh, oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
If I'm just being my honest, transparent self, absolutely. Um, I struggled as a teenager. Um, and I won't even say just as a teenager. I would even say into my adulthood.
Mhm.
I struggled with the humanity side of
Mm,
life.
mm,
And what I mean by that, everybody needs balance. I did not have balance. And I struggled because there were certain things that I wanted to do with my friends, but because of who I was, it was like, no, I can't go. I can't do that. Or um it was hard.
I can imagine that was very frustrating.
It
Like,
was hard, it was frustrating. And it kept me in a box.
mhm,
I'm 28, being exposed to worldly things that I was naive to.
mm.
And I was so naive to it because I couldn't believe that people carried on that way. I could, I could, woo, woo. I'm sitting in church.
Mm,
And this is when I was living in Nashville. And I'm sitting in church one day, and I'm like, and I'm seeing things, I'm hearing things, and I'm like, yeah, we in church. Yeah,
wow.
y'all do that, or you go to church, you sing in the choir. That's how you act. I mean, let me tell you, I was so. It's funny now. It is so funny now. But I was so naive to so many things because I didn't really experience that side of life to just know that people carry on like that, you know?
Yeah.
And like you said, nobody is perfect. We all have our little small things that we do, and then later on we're crying and we're sobbing before the Lord because we think we done committed a huge crime. But now
Right.
here I am sitting in, my late 20s, almost my 30s, and I am appalled. I'm like, what? Like, like this,
Wow.
like this really be going on? And I feel like had I had that balance, and just not felt like the world was unicorn, fairy tales, and rainbows, I would have been able to operate that season of my life a little bit better.
Mhm.
But it wasn't until after that season, like 2014 through 2017, or really through 2018, because my son was born in 2017. Um, I felt like that season of my life, it was needed in more ways than one, to help me bring that balance to my life and to help me ensure that my son can have that balance. Because I stepped over into the ministry in 2016. And so
Mhm.
it's like from 2014 to 2016, life was all over the place. Now I see new things, I know new things, and I'm having to activate my faith on a whole nother level in this season. And then God calls me into the ministry in 2016, and then boom, I have a son in 2017. And I look back on it now, I'm like, I see what you were doing there, God. I
Mm.
see what you were doing there. It was all a part of the process.
Wow. So that's a good segue into the next question I was about to ask you. So your entire life, you've grown up, you're a pastor's kid, uh 2016, you're an adult now. God has called you into the ministry. So now not only am I a pastor's kid, but I am also a minister now.
Mm-hmm.
And you mentioned seasons. So my question for you is when you think about your hardest season as a pastor's kid, as minister, um, what was that hardest season for you and how did that affect your faith? Now, I
That
understand that this right here is a sensitive subject, sensitive
Yeah.
topic. So
Um,
you don't have to go into full detail. You can give us like an overview.
that was my hardest season.
Mhm.
From 2014 until about 2018. That was
Mhm.
probably that was probably the season that I was most broken. Um, that was the season where I felt like God had forgotten about me.
Mhm.
But also in that season, I I knew grandmama had prayed. I knew daddy had prayed. I knew mama had prayed. I knew my aunts had prayed. And I knew I had a circle of people. I had a village of people that had prayed for me. But it wasn't until that season that I had to really get on my face myself and seek God myself. I had never been so low in my life. And I knew that the only way I was going to come up was to seek God through it all. And I remember one night I was I was in bed. Landon was crying. He was probably about this has got to be in 2018. So this is probably around March or April. I had just lost Tina in September of 2017, right before I had Landon. So I'm going through grief. I'm going through postpartum. I'm going through a divorce. I'm going through it all. Like I'm going through it all. And I remember sitting up in the bed, and I could hear God's voice so clear. Your present sufferings does not compare to the glory that shall be revealed after this. And I
Mm,
was like, okay. And I knew it was, for me, it was go time. You know,
mhm,
I always heard, because the word of God, it comes through our ear gate. So I always heard that God would show up.
mhm,
And he has shown up for me, many a times, and I lift my hands and tell God, thank you. But to show up for me and to deliver me out of that season, I knew God on a completely different level. I was operating in my own faith. I was no longer operating in my daddy's faith. I was no longer operating in my mama's faith, my grandparents' faith. I was operating in my own faith. Like, God, I know you. You
mhm,
know me. I know what you can do, and I trust you to do just that. And literally from that day on, I decided, because faith without works is dead. I decided I'm going to get up and I'm going to do the work, because that's that's where we sometimes drop the ball.
yeah,
We sit back, and I'm like, that no, faith plus work go
yeah,
hand in hand. And we sometimes drop the ball because we think if we just got the faith, then we don't have to do anything. And God is like, no, there's one more step that you have to take. You got to do the work, because if you're not, you can say you have the faith, but if you're not reading the word of God, if you're not praying, if you don't have that relationship with him, what are we doing? So
true.
I realized in that season of my life that the faith I once had was inadequate for that season of my life.
Mm,
And now that I know that, I view every season like that, because the faith that I had then to get through that season, it was 100% inadequate to get me through the season of losing my daddy.
mm.
So yeah, it's important. It is important.
So you said something that really stood out to me. You said that you felt like God had forgotten about you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of times as Christians, we don't want to admit that every now and then we feel forgotten about.
Mm-hmm.
No matter how long you've gone to church, no matter who you've been around, when
Mm-hmm.
life is really beating you up, sometimes it make you feel like, God, you're not looking at me.
Mm-hmm.
I personally
Mm-hmm.
have been in a season where I was like, God, if you just look at me, I'll be
Mm-hmm.
okay. I don't
Mm-hmm.
even feel like you looking at me right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know? Because at least if you look at me, that lets me know that you're acknowledging that I'm there.
Yes.
And so I think as Christians, it's so important that we be completely transparent and be
Mm-hmm.
completely honest with ourselves and tell ourselves that I don't have to be super saint all the time.
Yes.
I can be
Yes.
vulnerable. I can say, man, I don't know, God. I don't know if you here with me in this case.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So for
Mm-hmm.
you to admit that, I think that's awesome. And I think people in the world need to hear that every now and then as a Christian, you're gonna have those moments where you just like, man, I don't know. Now here's the thing. If you really faith-filled and you really love God, those moments don't last very long.
They don't. They
They
don't.
don't last long. Like I share this story often with the congregation that I pastor. I say, look, I went through a period where I actually asked God, was he real? And this
Mm-hmm.
is I had been saved for a long time. I was doing the music thing, I was rapping, and I literally stood in my bathroom and I looked up and I said, God, what if you're not real? And
Mm-hmm.
what if everything I told them about you isn't true? Because that's how bad I was down. Like, that
Mm-hmm.
beat me up so bad
Mm-hmm.
that
Mm-hmm.
for that brief moment. It was a few minutes for me. I doubted that he existed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But it's so important as Christians that you allow yourselves to be human.
That's
And
right.
we don't walk in disbelief, but
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you may have a like, I don't know, God, if I don't understand this one now.
I know it. I know. And
So,
I have a saying, and I actually started saying it um after my dad passed. It's okay to not be okay.
hmm
Um and because I think we as Christians, we try to put on this facade because we have faith, that we're strong and we can go through anything and we can face anything. But in that season, God taught me that just because pain is present, that
hmm
does not mean that joy can't be present as well. I had to learn that grief and joy can reside together, but we as Christian, we want to rush and get to the joy. We want to rush the process and get to the strength and get to the restoration, that we fail to really sit in the process and see what that pain and what that process is trying to teach us. And so I sat in it, and I sat in it as long as I needed to. And believe it or not, I had people to tell me to get up. I had people to tell me to get back to. And it made me so angry because I'm like, get back to what? What am I getting back to? Because for me to get back to it means that my dad is going to be there. So no, I'm not getting back to anything, but I am going to sit here, and I'm going to sit as long as I need to sit, because if I don't, I will get up bitter. I will get up angry. I will get up broken. And I don't want to get up bitter. I don't want to get up angry. I don't want to get up broken, but I want to get up better. And the only way for me to get up better is to allow this process to teach me what God is trying to teach me. So I'm going to grow through it. I'm not going to get back to it. I'm going to grow through it. And I think that is so important. Grief is a part of life.
hmm
Disappointment is part of life. Heartbreak is a part of life. All of those things are a part of life. And if we just take a moment to learn what those things are trying to teach us versus trying to rush to get to the good stuff, then we can really enjoy the good stuff so much more, because we understand what the pain and what the process did for us.
Yeah. And I think a lot of times we as Christians, we want the palace without going to prison first.
That's it.
You know,
That's it.
you look
That's
at the
it.
story of Joseph, and we look at Joseph, God gave him this dream at 17, and it came to pass. But how he got to Egypt and how he got to the palace was not the way that he thought he was
Mm-hmm.
going to get there.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of
Mm-hmm.
times we want the palace, but we don't want to go through the prison. We don't want to
Yeah.
go through Potiphar's house. Like that's all a process. All that stuff builds you and sets you up for the
Yep. Yep.
and I'm looking at you now and, hearing your story, which I knew part of your story from afar, but hearing your story now and thinking about how you're the CEO of your dad's company now, I think all of that was preparation, Monique. Like,
Ooh, let me tell you something. And that was one of the hardest things. Oh, I'm about to cry now. That was one of the hardest things that my process had to teach me. Um, that it had to be this way.
Mhm,
And and I'm like, and I got angry.
mhm,
I got angry, and I had to repent, and I had to pray. I remember preaching a sermon in June, a month before my daddy passing, and I said, people look at you and wonder how you survived. And and I said, my hope is built on nothing less. And and then, of course, I was talking about the season that I had, been through, and just the season that other women had been through, and people look at them and think that they think they're all this and that, but they don't realize that when they walk in the room, it's the anointing that they carry. That's what they see. It's not necessarily that they feel like, they're better than you or anything like that. And so after my dad passed and I took on the funeral home, and I was just like, this is so crazy. I'll be 100% transparent. I said, this is so ghetto. I don't, I remember telling my friends, I said, my daddy opened up a funeral home, left me in charge. And then he got out of here. And now here I am running a funeral home, operating funeral. This is so ghetto. But then, nobody knew that that's how I felt. They see my face and they see me serving. And, oh, that's so great. Your daddy left you a legacy. And, that's so great. And you're doing well. And you walking in your daddy's shoes. And I've had to correct a couple people. No, no, no. I don't walk in my daddy's shoes. My daddy left me a path to follow. I walk in my own shoes. My daddy did not expect me to walk in his shoes. He wanted me to walk in my shoes. He just left the path for me, for me to follow. So people see your glory, but they don't really know your story for real. People know that my daddy passed. People know that he left me a funeral home, but people don't know that I said, and I was like, God, what is this? Like, what is we doing? Like, what is going on? And believe it or not, when I serve now, I have a feeling that comes over me that lets me know it had to be this way, and you are right where you are supposed to be. I can feel myself walking in purpose in every room I sit in with a family, in every service that I walk in. I feel God's hand all over it. And it gives me strength. It gives me strength to show up for them. And people, I remember this one family I sat down with, and the wife, she asked me, she said, how do you do this so well? I said, I have not sat where you're sitting, but I have sat where your children are sitting. And I know what I needed in my time, and I strive to give you what I needed. And so if I can just give you what I needed, then I feel like I have served you well. And she said, well, you have served me well. And I do feel like you just like your daddy, but you have served me well. I said, I'll take that. I'll take that. But yeah, it's purpose. And when you walk in purpose, when you truly, truly walk in purpose, it feels differently. There's no, sometimes you walk into a job and you question, don't really know if you should be there, if you should be there. But when I walk into that, it's like that's my God-given right. I'm supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be doing this.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hearing you say that made me think about Jesus. You know how the Bible tells us, Jesus is our high priest and he made himself relatable to us. Like he
Mm-hmm.
sympathizes with us, pleading our
Mm-hmm.
case on the right hand of the Father because
Mm-hmm.
he knows what it's like to be a human. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of times we want to, serve in our purpose, but you got to understand that that's a training that comes with that.
Oh, yes.
And so
Yes.
you had a tough training,
Mm-hmm.
but
Don't be too quick to want the oil, because there's a Christian, there is a Christian that comes
yeah,
with the oil. I'm telling you. I'm telling you, you got to run your race. If anybody asks me, I will tell them you can't run my race.
yeah.
My race was not, it wasn't a unicorn and fairy tales and rainbows that I thought.
That's so funny. I tell people a lot of times, I say, you don't get to dictate how God uses you. Like we
Mm-mm.
always say, God, I want you to use me. Let me be a
Yes.
vessel. But we're
Mm-hmm.
thinking about our gifts, our talents. No,
Mm-hmm.
God will use you however He wants you to use
However
you.
he sees fit.
Yeah,
Yep.
so
And you
you
got to
got it.
be careful. And now that you say that, I sure had sung the song, Lord, I'm available to you. Use me as you play. I ain't sung it, Larry. I ain't sung because I'm like, Lord, I got to be
Man,
careful because when I tell you to use me, Lord, you show up and you show out.
you show out. Man, listen, I used to pray this prayer. I used to say, God, let my life be proof that you are faithful. And in my mind, when I was praying that prayer, it was bless me abundantly. Give me everything, right? Let these people see me doing well and they be like, oh, he's blessed. Man, no, no, no. It was not like that. I went through some stuff. So now when I pray, I get real specific. Hey,
I,
man, this is what I want, but I don't
I'm
do this.
telling you.
Don't do that now. This
Mm-hmm.
I get real specific now.
I'm telling you, and don't and Lord, don't pray for patience.
Oh,
I have
I,
learned. I'm like,
I
God, you
learned
taught me.
that
You,
I don't say it no
yeah,
more. It don't come out my
oh.
mouth because I learned that tough way.
I'm telling you, I learned that lesson. I have
Mm,
learned it. Just help me, Lord. Just
yeah,
help
just
me.
help me.
Yeah,
Just help, give it to me. Don't
yeah,
listen, don't train me on it.
yeah.
Just drop it in me.
I'm telling you, I'm all trained out right now.
Oh snap, that's so funny, man. So if you could say one thing to church leaders about the impact their ministry has on their children, what would you tell them?
I would tell them your first ministry is your home.
Mm,
Um, there will be times that you absolutely have to do God-given assignments because you get those assignments directly from him. So you have no choice. But then there's other times that you also have to say no because your children need you.
mm,
That's one of the things I do know. We shared my dad with a lot of families, with a lot of people. And because of that, sometimes he didn't get a chance to be there. He wanted to be there, but sometimes he didn't get a chance to be there. And in my adulthood with my son, I schedule everything around my son's schedule. That may not be the best thing to do, but that's just how I do it in my house. And I do say yes a lot, but I also say no a lot.
mm,
And if I say yes, I have already secured him. Like I've already made sure he's good because your home feels the effect of when you are away.
mm,
Um, so that would be my number one. Actually, that would be my only thing. That would be my only
mm,
thing because I have learned that everybody's journey is different. So
mm,
you have to walk your journey and walk your path the way that God tells you. So that would really be my only advice coming from a child. Make sure that your home is your first ministry. Make sure that you're not pouring into other people more than you're pouring into your home, into your kids, because just like those family children, they're gonna grow up and they're gonna be successful. You want the same thing for your children too. You want your children to be able to have the balance that you're teaching somebody else's family.
mm. So experiencing that and having to share your dad with so many people, did it at any point put some type of resentment in your heart towards church or towards church people?
Oh, absolutely. One
Yeah.
100%. Um, and it's a twofold to that. Because as a child, it did. I felt like we were always in church. You know, Everybody else, they in the movies, they in the bowling alley. We sitting up in revival.
Mm.
Singing Jesus on the main line. Call them up, tell them what you want. Uh, and it's family night. At the skate rink or at the bowling alley, and And even and I would and who, and it was like the mentality that you ought to be thankful anyhow.
Mm.
No, I have spent my childhood in church. So as a child, no, I'm not thankful. Um, and but I will say that the second part of that twofold is that my daddy was loved and cherished by so many people that to hear the words that they had to say about him, how he showed up, how he prayed for them, how he activated their faith when they were in tough seasons and hard times. I had to sit with it because I did resent, the first part. I resented that. And then when he passed, I had those stories that really encouraged me.
Yeah.
And I mean, because I was amazed at how many people said I could just call him and he knew what to say. Sometimes he would be half asleep, but he knew that word so well. He didn't have to get up. He didn't have to pick up a Bible. I mean, he just knew it and he knew what to say, how to say it. And and I was thankful for that. I was thankful for that. So that's why I say it's a twofold. I resented it as a child because I felt like I was missing out on some things. Um, but over in my adulthood, I can't help but to appreciate it.
Mm. That's awesome. So I ask you one more question before we go.
Okay.
So looking back now, after everything you've been through, as a pastor's kid, now being a minister, and you just walking in your call, um, what part of your story as a pastor's kid has become your greatest source of strength?
I may have to plug my phone up for this. Let me see. Um, my greatest source of strength comes from serving others.
Mm, mm,
Um, when I serve others,
mm,
it's like honestly, I don't even think I have the words to adequately express what serving others does for me and how it uplifts me. Um, so often you never know the smile that you never know what people are going through. You never know how much it took for that person to either get out of bed, come out their door, get to where they were going to. Like you just never know. So I live by grace and kindness. Like that's my motto: grace and kindness. And of course the scripture, with love and kindness have I drawn thee. We can't draw if we ain't showing
right,
love and kindness.
right.
Um, so when I serve others, and it's not for me to be on a pedestal. It's not for me to be in the spotlight because if you really know me, then you know I hate the spotlight. And and I don't know why it seems like those of us who hate the spotlight, we always end up in the spotlight, and it looks like we love the spotlight. I'm like, oh, I'm okay. I'm all right being in the background. I'm perfectly fine. My sister used to say, "You got to take over, spirit." I'm like, girl, okay. Um, but serving others.
Mm,
That's it,
that's,
sir. It's like it's my question to others is always, how can I serve you?
mm,
How can I help you?
mm,
If you're having a bad day, what can I do to serve you? to help you to get on the other side of this? Be it praying, be it just a conversation, be it a song, whatever it is. That's my question. What can I do to serve you?
Mm, that's dope, Monique. That is
Mhm.
extremely dope. Well, I tell you, I have thoroughly enjoyed this.
I have enjoyed it too. The
This,
Larry Rocket, my classmate.
yeah, man. Listen, it was only about 26 of us
Yeah,
or
right.
something like that. Oh, that's probably the fastest graduation in the history of graduations.
Oh my goodness. And
Uh,
then we sitting up in the Ford Center on Old Miss campus, and it's like we probably had maybe 1 through 10, 4, and that's what the people that came. That's family.
right. Right. So, what's crazy is after our graduation, I went to like other graduations. I was like, man, this is entirely too long. But I'm not understanding that this is normally how long it is.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's
Mm-hmm.
funny, man. But it's been a pleasure, Monique.
It has been my honor. It has been my honor.
Listen, continue doing the great things that you're doing. Anything else you want to tell the people before we get up out of here?
I would say if you have not served anyone lately, find you somebody to serve. If you have not encouraged someone lately, find you someone to encourage, especially if you are in a storm yourself. It is important that you find someone to encourage and to pray for, because what God does for us when we serve others, when we encourage others, when we pray for others, I know for a fact that it will blow your mind. Walk in grace, walk in love, walk in kindness, be your own thermostat, set your own temperature. Don't allow anyone or anything, no situation, no person to adjust your thermostat. You be your own thermostat. You set your own temperature. Um, and that's all I got. Because I will
Hey.
preach. I am a preacher and I will start preaching.
Go ahead, Reverend. Hey, well, there it is. Listen, I appreciate you again. Thank you for stopping by. To the viewers out there, we appreciate you guys for just tuning in. This has been another episode of Prayers in Progress. You guys continue to be great. Until next time, God bless you.